Guys, let's be honest. How much money have you lost on futures in the past month? While you're praying over the charts, trying to guess where the price will go, the smart money is raking in the commissions. And in this video, I'll show you a strategy where it doesn't matter to me where Bitcoin goes. Even if it drops by 50% or goes up by 100%, I'll still come out ahead and make money on it. And this isn't magic, it's math. Now I'll show you how to find these kinds of trades in just 3 clicks. Let's go. Look, there are inefficiencies in the market. When people greedily go long, there's a funding mechanism that lets you make money if you take the opposite position. When a lot of people are going long, we get positive funding. If you go short, you'll receive payments from the exchange. The exchange will pay you for taking a position against the crowd. And you can make money from this. For this strategy to work, we need to be in a hedge, meaning a hedging position. Opposite to how we open the short, we should have a spot position or an open long on another exchange for the same amount of tokens so that we remain in a neutral position. It won't matter to us whether the market goes up or down. We have 2 positions open in opposite directions and we just wait for the funding to be paid out. As soon as the funding's paid out, we can close the position and enjoy our profit. Lately, we've done a lot of reviews on funding arbitrage, shorts, and videos on the channel, so be sure to check them out. This is a really top-notch strategy right now, where you can earn almost passively. You enter the trade, wait for the funding to be paid, exit, and enjoy your profit. It's all as simple as it gets. And let me show you how you can find these kinds of trades, because checking the funding rates for every pair manually takes a really long time and is very time-consuming. There's a service called Arbitrage Scanner. It has a table with funding spreads, and you can see which exchanges and which tokens currently have funding and what the spread is between the funding rates. Let's dive into Arbitrage Scanner. By the way, the link to it is in the description. Here we're greeted by a table like this. We can see the token that has a funding rate, as well as the spread between funding rates and the exchanges where this token is available and what the current funding rates are. So it's a real-time table, you can refresh it and you'll get the latest data pulled in here. Look, for the IDX token, the funding spread is 1.54, meaning every 8 hours, 1.54% will be paid out on our position. If you use, say, 5 times leverage, you can multiply that by 5 and your profit will increase accordingly. But leverage comes with the risk of liquidation. You can't use high leverage here, 5th leverage is the maximum, but you should always have margin on the exchange so you don't get liquidated. It's very important to understand this. So look, we see that on Gate the funding is 0, and on Max it's negative. We go to the MEX exchange and see that the funding is minus 1.5%. If the funding is negative, that means short sellers are paying long holders, so we take the opposite position. We open a long, and on the other exchange, Gate, we open a short because the funding there is 0. This way, we're in a hedged neutral position. We just wait for the funding to be paid out. When it's paid, we close the position and lock in the profit. It works exactly the same way with positive funding. If we see a strongly positive funding rate somewhere, let's check the table to see if we have any positive funding rates. There are a few small ones. Let's say here, where we have positive funding, we need to short, because if the funding is positive, long traders pay short traders. We take the opposite position, open a short, and at the same time, on another exchange, we open a long. Where we have negative funding, we open a long. Accordingly, we'll get paid from both the long and the short because we have both positive and negative funding. And with this strategy, you can make money like that. Let's dive into the exchange and see where this funding's displayed. Look, on the MEX exchange, the funding is shown at the top. Here it says funding rate and the time until the funding is charged, 4 hours and 54 minutes. Our funding's minus 1.54. Next, let's go over to the Gate exchange. Here, the funding is displayed right here. Here, it's positive, but there's a little catch. Look, the prices are different. If we start shorting here, we're shorting at a lower price, and if we go long, it's at a higher price, so we could lose money on that. That's why, to enter a trade like this, we wait until the prices are about the same. Then you can open a trade with the same amount of tokens. For example, you open a short for 10,000 tokens on Gate Exchange and a long for the same 10,000 tokens on MX Exchange. Again, you take the opposite position from the funding direction. If the funding's negative, that means we go long. This is very important to understand, because if you enter a negative spread that isn't in your favor, you could lose money on it. Prices could diverge even more, and you'll end up closing the trade at a loss, and even the funding won't cover your losses. So make sure to carefully check that the token prices are the same. Look, I actually found just such a trade. The Sanddog token on KuCoin has a funding rate of minus 0.59 and a price of 0.1221. On the Gate exchange, the price is 0.1223. So there's a slight difference, and here the funding is negative. Accordingly, where the funding is more negative, we go long, and where it's less negative, we go short. Here, we'll be paid funding, but because of the difference between the funding rates, we'll earn much more in our position since we're entering with the same amount of tokens. You need to look for trades where the prices are the same, but the funding rates differ, where there's a spread between the funding rates, and those are the trades you can enter. The funding will be deducted from us in just 52 minutes, while on KuCoin the funding happens in 4 hours and 51 minutes. You can wait until the funding changes on Gate, and then check what the funding rate is here. And when the funding rate is known, it'll be either positive or negative. So the funding rate can still change, and in 51 minutes we'll find out what the next funding rate will be. Based on that, we'll enter the trade, because otherwise we'd have to wait a really long time, 4 hours and 51 minutes, or 4 hours and 50 minutes. So we can wait until the first funding fee is charged here, so we can enter the trade and not pay that funding fee unnecessarily. Also, Arbitrage Scanner has its own funding bot. It lets you conveniently find spreads right through Telegram. Look, let's go into Telegram, hit start, and you'll see a table like this. You can set the language, time, everything can be customized to your preferences. The rollback time, price spread, everything is adjustable. Look, there's a best funding tab here. Go there and check out the latest funding for the past hour. We can see which token on which exchange we should short, which one to go long on, and what our funding rate is, minus 1.5%. You can also see the time when the funding will be deducted, how much time is left until the funding is charged, and the fees as well. And you can check the transaction amount, right? All of this is displayed in the convenient table for different tokens across various exchanges like OKX and CoinX. There you go, for Tensor as well. KuCoin and BitGet show the funding rates, and the spread is also displayed here. So with this bot, it's super convenient to check funding rates. It also shows the top funding rates across different exchanges, called top fundings. Then you pick the exchange you're interested in, let's say for example OKX, right? And it shows you the most positive and the most negative funding rates. Based on this, you can go to the token, check the pair, say long short or spot short, and see how much the funding rates are, how much you could earn from it. That's also really convenient. Everything is set up right inside this bot in Telegram. You can also set up notifications and catch the funding rates that interest you specifically. This funding bot is available with a Guru subscription, so if you scroll down, there's a special Guru subscription, and it gives you access for 6 months right away. With my promo code, you actually get it for a whole year. I have a promo code that will give you 100% extra days on your subscription. So if you buy a 1-month subscription, you get 2 months. If you buy 6 months, you get a whole year. That's why the Nikita Arbitrage promo code is in the description. Also, the Guru subscription gives you access to the VIP chat, where people share their arbitrage signals, where other arbitragers hang out, chat, and help each other. You also get VIP passes to all sorts of side events, your own personal manager you can call who will help you out, and a bunch of other perks. There's also a VIP subscription, the Whale subscription. There are regular subscriptions too, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, or a year. The more months you choose, the cheaper the subscription gets. For example, I recommend the business subscription because it unlocks futures arbitrage. Platinum unlocks both DEX and CX arbitrage. Enterprise gives you all the features from the previous subscriptions, plus your own manager and various other perks. Under each subscription, it says exactly what you get. With this software, you can easily search for spreads in cryptocurrency on spot, futures, CEX plus DEX, funding arbitrage, and futures arbitrage. Everything is available here in one piece of software. You just buy a subscription and you get access to all of this. You use it and finally start making money on crypto arbitrage. So give it a try yourself. The link to the Arbitrage Scanner is in the description, and my promo code is there too. Well, I hope this video was helpful. We went over funding arbitrage, how to find spreads on funding, and how to get in. We also covered some of the nuances of this type of arbitrage. Be sure to check out our previous videos too. We've also made videos about funding arbitrage. It's a really interesting strategy that you can use to make money in the crypto market right now, so definitely give it a try. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Share with your friends, leave your comments, and we'll see you in the next videos. Bye everyone!